Good morning, everyone. Kate Bora and Fiona Pearman joining you for this week's Facebook Live, where we're digging into an awesome topic, perfectionism. And I think this is really an interesting one. We went and looked for a definition, which actually, in and of itself, created all sorts of conversations because it said that perfectionism is a personality trait where we're striving for flawlessness and perfection, and it's accompanied by critical self-evaluation and concerns regarding other people's evaluations. And I think the definition in and of itself shines a light on why this is tricky, why it's problematic, because it's often this overly self-critical aspect that can take us down a rabbit hole. Be perspectives that we hold that maybe aren't the most informed, aren't the most helpful. In fact, a lot of our own self-evaluation or critique can be out of perspective. And then equally, you combine that self-critic side with a focus on how others see us, how others evaluate us, the feedback others are giving us. And all of a sudden, I've got all of these dynamics that I need to navigate through. In many cases, not the most best informed pieces of feedback from the self and from others, and sometimes unfiltered.
Yeah, I think this is such a rich topic to better understand about ourselves because nearly all of us have at times and in different circumstances oriented towards perfectionism. And I think what we do want to recognize is, there are going to be moments, there are going to be times when potentially that attention to detail, that willingness to go the extra bit, that idea about wanting to get something absolutely accurate and correct is valuable and useful. So we're not suggesting that it's not important to do things well. What we do want to do is start to question, gain more self-awareness so that we can evaluate when this may be serving us. And we know from experience there's going to be a lot of times when it's not. And I think part of this is understanding where it comes from. What's going on for us that so many of us have a default towards overdoing things or doing things exceptionally well, spending more time and energy than is perhaps warranted. And I think a big part here is if you think about our education system, if you think about the way we set people up, we get rewarded for getting things right. We get, the gold star, we get the ducks of the school, we get all of the accolades when we get 10 out of 10, when we get everything right. And so that's deeply ingrained in us as people. It's deeply part of our psyche about the way we see ourselves and the way we want others to see us. And, I was just talking to someone on our recent road trip, and she was talking about, I'm so nervous about this for my daughter. I can see how it was a pattern for me. And now my daughter, just went to a parent teacher night and she got 18 out of 20. And the teacher said she's completely obsessing about the two things she got wrong rather than celebrating, hey, you got 18 things right here. And just starting to understand that we need to have a good relationship here between what's necessary and what we're overdoing for other reasons.
Yeah, I think of that old quote, what gets rewarded or recognized is repeated.
Mm-hmm.
So I think important to recognize as we start to think about where this comes from, recognize the multiple different contexts and places in our life over the many decades, right? Whether it's academic, whether it's sport, whether it's at home, sometimes perfectionism can link into being good girls, quiet girls, or being really helpful girls around the house. There's lots of different ways that the layers of perfectionism play out. The link between being good, getting it right, being helpful, being quiet equals being liked. And I think equally to your piece does then fee around. And the other thing we don't talk about, we talk a lot about good marks. We don't talk a lot about the lessons, the insights, the learnings that come from not getting things right. And so we don't talk about failure. In fact, for many, the two we don't get right, you're right, we vortex to, we orientate and obsess around. but we're not talking about and giving people permission to fail. And so that the silence and the shame around that then creates even more of a focus on getting things right and perfectionism because we want to avoid getting things wrong.
Yeah. It feels really uncomfortable, right? In that vortex, in that space of getting something wrong means that I'm wrong, I'm bad. We make the thing that happened part of our identity. And that's why it feels so shameful, so uncomfortable, so difficult. And so it makes sense that we've latched on to this idea of perfectionism, that we think it's something worthwhile. It's become embedded in our identity and how we see ourselves. It's what we trust has made us successful. So we're very loyal to this idea of ourselves and what works. And what's important here as we unpack this over the month is to start to reevaluate, think about ways in which perhaps an overextended strength is actually undermining some of the other parts of ourselves that really need expression. So while perfectionism can help a little bit, early stages of career potentially, it's certainly not the only thing. And we want to really start to think about ways in which we can right-size this.
Yeah, lots to dig into in this topic, which we'll bring over the course of the month. Lots of really good questions you can start to ask yourself. We know that the really critical thing is start to build your own awareness here around when is this serving you and when is it actually becoming a roadblock for you in terms of achieving other things that you want in career and life. Team, we're going to leave it there. If you've enjoyed today's confidence conversation, we'd love to hear from you. And of course, we'd love for you to share it with someone. If perfectionism is something that's playing out for someone else in your world, please share it with them. If you've got any questions, comments, feel free to get in touch. And if and when you're ready to go deeper with your relationship, with core confidence, or if you'd like to dig in a little bit deeper around your perfectionism and start to create new habits, new beliefs, and new behaviors to start to staircase your way to core confidence, then head over to our website, find out more about our Acts of Confidence program. We look forward to talking with you soon.